All right, just wanted to do a quick little video on an update to our lighting in the bus. We've had these overhead puck lights that have been wired into specific spots in the bus since we got it. The guy who had the bus before us already had these boxes roughed in for sections of overhead lights. So they're in sections here of 2 lights each. So we got the living room lights, kitchen lights, and then back here is the kind of the hallway and bathroom light, since this one is connected to the one in here, and then we've got bedroom ones here. So 4 different sections of lights. What we've been wanting to do though is make them smart while also maintaining their functionality of just pushing a switch to turn them on, because in the event that the system that controls the smarts isn't working, we obviously still want to have our lights, so redundancy is key in that aspect. So how we're accomplishing this is by using a couple different products. One that some of you are probably familiar with if you've worked with any sort of automation with lighting, and these are Shelly relays. You can get these in different flavors, but this particular one, which is the Shelly +1, I think it's called. There's a couple different names they call them, but this one in particular, the blue one, it does not do power monitoring. The red ones do power monitoring. But this one particularly, you can see on here, it lists the AC voltage and DC voltage that it can support, which all of their relays can support AC and DC voltage through them. This one in particular can be powered by DC 12 volt, which you can see up here. There are other relays that cannot be powered by 12 volt or any sort of direct current. They have to be powered by AC power, but they can support DC going through the relay if needed. So for us, all of our lights are DC powered, so we needed a relay that could be powered by 12 volt, which is why we went with the Shelly. I know it looks like a mess here, and that's partly because we have a single power line that runs from the back all the way to the front, and it works all of these boxes. So there's runs coming off of the main lines coming through here, and then we're just kind of tying it into these Wago connectors so we can continue the run that way. So that one has less, which you'll see in a moment. But basically how this is hooked up is this relay is connected over Wi-Fi to our Home Assistant, where we can toggle this on and off, and it will just open and close the relay and turn the lights on and off. Pretty simple. However, we wanted to maintain having a button. So we have this momentary switch, which you see right here. And what this does is when you press it, it springs back at you. And then you see the lights just went off. Toggle it again, lights come back on. The reason we went with a momentary switch is because if we went with a normal toggle switch like you find in a house, we wouldn't be able to know the actual true state of this light if, say, we turned the light on using a normal toggle switch, and then someone went in to the app, into Home Assistant, or by voice, and said to turn off the kitchen lights. It would turn the lights off using this, but the switch would still be in the on position. So right there, it messes up the actual true state of the switch. We just wouldn't know what the state of the switch would be. The light would be toggled off, but the switch would say that it's technically on. It would just be confusing. So the way to get around that is to use a momentary switch. And you can get different types. You can get this rocker style that springs back at you. You can get push button switches that you just push. We had these, and we just decided to use them because they resembled regular toggle switches for the most part. So that's how we wired them up. And then I would say the wiring's pretty simple, and it is, but I didn't have the proper wire colors that I needed at the time, so some of it's not completely true to its coloring here for positive and negative, but it's pretty simple to wire up. You just need 12 volt power coming in on this pin. You need 12 volt power on the input of the relay, and then your ground's hooked up here. This wire goes out to the light, so when this relay closes, 12 volts can flow through to the light. And then the SW one is for the switch, which just switches ground. And so when, you know, you press this, it switches it on and off and toggles the relay. So pretty simple setup. This is probably the best way that I can find, if you have 12-volt lighting, to make your lights smart. This will work for, you know, schoolies, van life, RVs, whatever, as long as you have a relay that can support 12 volts. If you happen to have 24-volt stuff, then you might have to get a little bit more creative with different relay boards and such, but this is probably the easiest. Now, I would have used the Shellys in all of our outlets, but these started to become hard to find because I think they're coming out with their next generation, and then who knows about the tariffs. Maybe people aren't getting good stock of these because the blue ones have been out of stock for a bit on Amazon, or they've just been kind of hard to get. But these work great. They're Wi-Fi. They also have Bluetooth in them, so they can do Bluetooth proxy if you want. But they're very, very quick. If I toggled it from Home Assistant, it's as instant as toggling it from the switch. There's almost no delay doing that. So it works great. However, I wanted to get our switches up and going as quickly as we could. So I went another route with some of our other switches, and that's using the new SwitchBot relays. And as you can see, it's pretty much a clone of the Shellys. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a deal with Shelly, because Shelly's primarily over in Europe. But SwitchBot has their versions. This does do Wi-Fi, technically, kinda, but right now it's hooked up over Bluetooth to Home Assistant to do the toggling. This supports Matter, as you can see on the bottom here, but you need SwitchBot's special bridge because it does Matter over bridge, which, you know, it's getting a little deep in the weeds for this video to talk about Matter and how to use it. But basically, the easiest way to use this is over Bluetooth. It's a little slower, and this is all wired up the same too. Everything's exactly the same as the Shelly. But it's a little slower to toggle over Bluetooth just because there's a little bit of delay, but we still have the momentary switch. That's instant, just works the relay, and it works great. And then since that's Bluetooth, it's just connecting to our Bluetooth proxy up here, which then sends that traffic over Wi-Fi to Home Assistant. So there isn't a huge delay, but it's noticeable between the two. This is definitely more instant than that one, but I would say it's like, you know, a second, maybe less than a second to activate that one versus this one, which is like instant. So, but yeah, that's how we wired up our switches. We also had to 3D print custom covers because these toggle switches, you would think by looking at them, they would fit a normal toggle switch cover or plate that you'd get from Home Depot or Lowe's, but they don't. They're slightly bigger. So I just got the measurements from the manufacturer site and then went online to this awesome wall plate designer. It's called Wally, the wall plate customizer. And I was able to just modify the code for the opening to fit that exact dimension, and the switches popped right in. And then I can just hook up that plate on a regular 1-gang box. So I've got 2 more switches to do in the back. I got these 2 done here. But yeah, pretty quick and easy and simple, even though it doesn't look it, but trust me, it's pretty simple. So if anybody has any questions, definitely shoot us a message. I can show you a little bit easier how to wire these up, or I might make a wiring diagram and post it so other people can kind of just replicate what I have going on here. But as you can see from the diagram on here, it's pretty simple, and Shelly has their documentation online, which is great, and it's the same thing. So, you know, you can go on there and check out to see how to wire up 12-volt devices. All right, thanks for watching.